Well, what are you waiting for?
I don't know. Something amazing, I guess.
Me too, kid.
What are you waiting for? I don't know. Something amazing, I guess. Me too, kid. Me too. I love Pixar movies, and one of the reasons I love Pixar movies and one of the reasons these movies are so great and make so much money is that they ask questions and tell stories about the human experience that are so deep and so powerful that all of us know what they mean. And that scene we just watched in The Incredibles is that moment in that movie where the question gets asked, what are you waiting for? I don't know. Something amazing, I guess. Every one of us in this room knows that feeling. We know what it's like to want our life to matter. We know what it's like to want to be a part of something great, of something truly amazing. It doesn't matter if we're Mr. Incredible, endowed with all the strength the world has to offer, or a little boy in a tricycle at the end of a driveway. We feel that ache. The challenge, of course, is that life doesn't always work this way, right? Life is not always amazing. If you know The Incredibles, you know life is not going well for Mr. Incredible at that moment. He's lost his dream job because he saved somebody that didn't want to be saved, right? He's got a dead-end job with a boss that doesn't understand his greatness, right? None of us knows how that feels. His children are struggling. His wife is struggling. He is in desperate need of something amazing. And something amazing is about to come. In our story from Scripture today, we find a woman who is in the exact same spot, who has waited a lifetime for something truly amazing to happen. And then it finally does. She's waited 84 years to see something great. And it finally walks into her life. We get 3 verses about this story, 3 verses to sum up a life of 84 years, and they're from Luke chapter 2, verses 36 through 38. So if you've got a Bible, go ahead and turn there now, or they'll be on a screen in just a second, and we'll read them together. So Luke chapter 2, verses 36 through 38, we hear this story. There was also a prophet, Anna, the daughter of Penuel of the tribe of Asher. She was very old. She had lived with her husband 7 years after her marriage and then was a widow until she was 84. She never left the temple, but worshiped night and day, fasting and praying. Coming up to them, the them at this point is Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus. At that very moment, she gave thanks to God and spoke about the child to all who were looking forward to the redemption of Jerusalem. This story is the moment when something amazing finally comes, the culmination of a lifetime of waiting for Anna. And the message that we have for us is that you can find something amazing in Jesus. That something amazing is there to be found in Jesus, and Anna saw it within a split second of seeing him from across the temple courtyard. Jesus is something amazing. But the challenge that Anna had and the challenge that we have is that to understand the amazingness of Jesus, we have to sit in Anna's waiting, and we have to sit in our own waiting. We all have to wait. Anna was 84 years old when Jesus showed up into her life. She had been at the temple for 30,660 days, praying and fasting and waiting, hoping that God would arrive. We could forgive her if she had given up hope, right? 30,000 days is a long time to wait, a long time to see nothing happen. But she didn't. And surely she had friends like Job's friends who would say, Anna, he's not coming. Anna, give up hope. You're old now. You've wasted your whole life here in this temple. If she lived here with us, we'd say, Anna, bless your heart. Oh, how you come every week, and oh, how nothing ever happens for you. People called her a prophet, but surely people were starting to wonder if that was really true. But Anna persisted. She pushed through. She waited for God to arrive, and you can endure your wait too. You can endure your wait too. Because if we're honest, we all have waits. We all have our own struggles that we have to go through. We have our struggles that we endure for our life. And as we come out of this Christmas season, maybe for some of us in this room, those waits are especially long or especially heavy. These waits can be anything. Maybe you endured Christmas for the kids, but you know that divorce papers are coming in January. Maybe college didn't go as well as you hoped for the first semester, and you're nervous to go back. Maybe you endured the well-meaning questions from family members when they asked, when are you going to have children? But it was a dagger to the heart every time. Maybe you're scared to go back to school because you know it's going back to a place where you feel like you don't belong. Maybe your Christmas was like Gene Apple's. Gene Apple is now the pastor of Eastside Christian Church in Orange County, California. Life is going much better for Gene right now, but it hasn't always been this way for him. Several years ago at Christmas, he had just wrapped up a lengthy divorce process. Right, December came, he's freshly divorced, and he wanted nothing more than to go home and to be with his extended family for Christmas. But Gene had one problem with that plan, and that was the Christmas Eve service at his church that he had to preach. So he booked a ticket for Christmas morning and prepared his sermon for Christmas Eve. He finished the sermon, and as he was shaking hands with everybody who told him how great a job that he did, even though they weren't really listening because they were dealing with their families, he smiled and realized, I'm really hungry. I need to get dinner like now. But this freshly minted bachelor who was leaving in the morning had nothing left in his fridge at home, so he realized, I've got to go out to eat. He tried the fast food restaurants, but they had all closed. He tried the fancier restaurants in his town, but they had all closed as well. And soon Gene realized there was only one place left open in town where he could eat. So he turned his small sedan towards the bright neon lights of the local casino. And he drove out to that casino, parked his car, and walked into the casino diner and sat at the counter by himself on Christmas Eve and ordered a blue plate special. And as Gene tells the story, no sooner does he get the blue plate special from the chef than Elvis's Are You Lonely This Christmas starts playing over the casino loudspeakers. It's funny now, but at the time, Gene described that as the lowest point in his life. Rather than being with his family, he was stuck in a local casino on Christmas Eve. Maybe you feel like Gene today. Maybe life has not gone your way this month. If you feel that way, know you have a champion in Anna who endured the wait. Know you have people like Gene who have waited with you, and know that there are people waiting with you now. But also know that the wait is not the end of the story. As I was preparing this sermon, Christmas happened, right? And so Christmas decorations went everywhere. And one of the things I love about Christmas decorations is nativity scenes, right? Because there's so many different styles of nativity scenes. And up in the office, by my office, there's a Precious Moments nativity scene that fills the couch. And one day as I was preparing this sermon, I walked by it and looked down at the scene, and I saw the normal cast of characters, right? Stuffed Mary and Joseph, stuffed baby Jesus, right? A donkey, right? Shepherds, wise men, a palm tree. All the regular cast of characters were there in this nativity scene. But it made me wonder, where was Anna on Christmas morning? Where was Anna, the hero of the story we just read that Christmas morning? So I went around to all kinds of nativity sets looking for an Anna character, right? Where was she? And she wasn't in a single nativity set I could find. And so I wondered, where was this woman who had prayed so faithfully that God would arrive, this woman who was desperate for something amazing to happen? Where was she when that amazing thing was happening? Where was she when God arrived? And the text tells us Anna was in the temple, where she always was, the temple that she never left, praying to the God that she never forgot about. Something amazing had arrived, but Anna didn't get invited. And Anna was there in that temple. And that temple is 6 miles from Bethlehem. So many people from our church are in Israel right now. The temple that Anna was praying in is 6 miles from Bethlehem. If Anna was praying where I'm standing, Jesus was born in Bridge Street. She was that close, and yet so far. And the truth that tells us is that you can miss Christmas, but Christmas won't miss you. You can miss the arrival of Jesus. You can miss these great things happening, but Christmas will find its way to you. Jesus found his way to Anna, and he will find his way to you. At a previous church that I worked for, we worked with an organization called the Prison Entrepreneurship Program. And what this program realized was that a lot of people are in prison because they are really good entrepreneurs. Right? They are just really good entrepreneurs at illegal businesses. So if we teach them the right way to be entrepreneurs, if we teach them how to follow the system, perhaps they will be better when they get out of prison. And it's massively successful in the state of Texas. The recidivism rate of the men that graduate this program is less than 5% versus 90% of men who just leave the Texas prison system. But because of our partnership, we were invited to the graduation ceremony of one of the classes of these men, where they receive a certificate of entrepreneurship from my alma mater, Baylor University. And we said, absolutely, we would love to come to this event. And we load up in the car, and as we are driving to the prison to witness this graduation ceremony, we get a phone call from the director, and he says, can you pick up this grandmother of one of our graduates? She's on your way. Can you get her? And we said, absolutely, we'll pick her up. And so at the Hardee's in Palestine, Texas, we roll into the parking lot and pick up this elderly woman who hadn't seen her grandson for 5 years. She couldn't afford to make the trip to the prison. And we got to talking, and she told us, yes, her grandson had made mistakes. He had sold drugs. He had run with the wrong people, but she was excited that he had completed this program. We got to the prison, and we went through the security line. We did all the things, and we found our seat in the back of the prison gymnasium. She sat on the end of the aisle. And as her grandson walked in, he broke from the processional, which he was not allowed to do, and held up the whole line, embraced his grandmother, and then found his seat again. We cheered uproariously when he graduated and got his diploma. But then he came back to where we were sitting, and he embraced his grandmother in tears, which put all of us in tears and would have been a story of itself right there. But as they were hugging, up walked this 5-year-old little girl, and none of us knew who she was, but she stood there like she knew who we were. And so we waited patiently, And as they finish their embrace, this grandson and grandmother, he turns to her and says, "This is your great-granddaughter who you've never met before. Here we are." And at that point, all of us are in tears. It was a scene that was not of this world. It was a scene that none of us will forget. Here was a family who had missed a lot of Christmases. Here was a family that had endured a long wait. Here was a family that God arrived into. Here was a family of restored relationships. And no one who was in the back of that prison that day that saw that scene will ever forget what they saw. It was truly something amazing. So Anna sees something amazing. Jesus is something amazing in our lives. He comes to earth all the time in the way we live, and he wants to change the way we live in the world. But when we finally get to see something amazing, there's only one possible reaction. There's only one way we can respond effectively to seeing God move in powerful ways, and that is to tell somebody. Anna, in the scripture we read, sees Jesus for a split second and immediately turns to the crowd, to everyone who was waiting, to all the other people who was waiting, and says, "This child is something amazing." And when she does that, she becomes the first human being in Luke's gospel to proclaim that Jesus is something amazing. She beats Peter and Matthew and Luke by 30 years. When she tells the crowd that day that Jesus is amazing. And here's the thing. I fear that our familiarity with Jesus robs us of understanding how amazing he truly is. Because the Gospels are full of people doing peculiar things just for the chance to see Jesus. A short man climbs a tree. 4 friends cut a hole in a roof. Children disregard disciples' instructions. A sick woman pushes through a crowd. An enemy soldier leaves his unit. Shepherds leave their flocks. Fishermen leave their nets. And a tax collector leaves his post. And on and on and on. Why did they do these things? They did these things because the word got out. Anna's message spread. That someone amazing had arrived. What if that happened in Huntsville? What if that was our goal for 2019? What if we really believed that Jesus was so amazing that baristas will leave the counter, that engineers will look up from their books, as hard as that is to accomplish, that rocket scientists will look beyond the stars, that Publix cashiers will leave the bags. Will leave the bags. Amazing. That can happen here. But we are the ones who have to tell them. We are the ones who have to believe that he really is that amazing. So The Incredibles. If you've seen The Incredibles, you know that that's not the last time we see that little boy and the tricycle at the end of the driveway. As the movie draws to a close, the climactic moment, the villain is defeated, and the Incredibles family falls back to earth at the exact spot that dad smashed that car door in the scene. And on top of them, this massive plane that's exploding falls to earth, and they're saved by their daughter's superpower. And as the dust settles and as the smoke clears, the Incredible family looks out, and who is sitting at the end of their driveway but that same little boy in the tricycle? He came back. Why did he come back? Because he was desperate to see something amazing. And as the dust cleared and as the family looked, the boy stands up from his tricycle and shouts, "That was totally wicked," and sits back down. Church, that's the reaction of someone who's seen Jesus. That's the reaction of someone who's seen something amazing. That's the reaction our friends can have when we tell them, yes, Jesus really is something amazing. So if you want to hear more about this amazing Jesus, about this man who came for us all, this man who loves us deeply, I'm going to be standing over there by the cross after the service, and I've got nothing to do. So if you want to come talk to me, that sounds great. I would love to do that. But now Joey Jessup, our deacon, is going to come, and he is going to close us out.